Good afternoon, YouTubers, and welcome to Coulter's Car Commentary. Today we're in a Toyota Yaris. Now, funny story with this one. I picked this car up for a friend of mine who's recently just come back from the States. I actually picked one up 4 months ago, but unfortunately he's managed to run into the back of a wagon with it on the motorway. He's okay, but unfortunately the Yaris did its job, car crumpled, airbags, he walked away fine, as did his friend, but sadly that Toyota Yaris is no longer from this world. However, being a creature of habit, we have another Yaris, albeit a slightly different spec. So what I'm going to do today is a quick rundown on this Toyota Yaris 2013 1.3 vvti TR spec. Now, interestingly, I will be able to compare it to the other one, which was an Icon Plus, so a slightly different model. So I'm now 140 miles down the road motorway in this now. I've had time to have driven both the cars. I've had time to get used to them, find out the foibles and see what I like about it. And I have to say the one thing that stands out from both cars is the quality. For 10-year-old cars, second-hand, there's not a rattle, there's not a squeak, it is solid, it's soft touch materials on the doors, it's just all put together and it all works. Even the aircon is ice cold. You can't knock that. Now, the beauty behind quite a few of these cars is that the sort of older people have owned them is probably the best way to put it. Which has actually meant they get very well looked after. I think everyone I've looked at for Alex, and I've been hunting for Yarises, have generally been those that have been low mileage, have had a service every year, they've wanted for nothing, they've not been mistreated. Okay, you might get a bit of body work, you might get some alloy scuffs, you know, that sort of car park ding type territory, but actually they've barely been broken in. You know, the materials are well looked after, stuff looks like it's hardly been used, and I have to say that both of these cars have made really good buys for Alex. So what about driving the thing? Well, you know what, Toyota is never going to set the world on fire. However, the one thing I did manage to convince Alex was to buy this 1.3 engine. I tried the 1 litre and I tried the 1.4 diesel. We figured out Alex probably doesn't do enough miles to justify the 1.4 diesel. If you're going to go for one, I recommend you need to be doing some serious mileage. And the key reason for that is this 1.3, as I sit here now, sat at motorway speeds, is doing 56 to the gallon pretty much. The last one that I brought down did 57 to the gallon coming down. It's quick enough, it keeps pace with the motorway, it's a 6-speed box. I've got the aircon on, but it's nearly as economical, if not more economical, than most diesels. So I would strongly recommend, unless you really are doing astronomical miles, save the 20 pence a litre in fuel difference that it is at the moment in the current climate, and just take the petrol. Just take the petrol. 1 litre though, I will give it some credit. Round town, peppy enough, zippy enough, got about. However, having done a bit of motorway mileage with both of them, yeah, the 1.3 for very little loss in fuel economy. In fact, it's probably more economical on the motorway. Take the bigger engine. It just copes that little bit better. It's got a little bit more get up and go if you need to do some overtakes or keep up with some faster traffic in the outside lane. So, where would I look at if I was to go between the two models? I mentioned earlier Icon Plus and the TR. The Icon Plus was a fantastic find. There's not too many of them about that I could find at the time. But the benefit between that model, and it's a bit of an oddball model when you look at the lineup, it added climate control and it added cruise control. It was nothing fancy, but just adding those two things to this car really made it stand out against its sort of Fiestas, Corsas, Peugeot 2.8s, all that sort of stuff we looked at initially. and just made it a really pleasant place to be. So what else do all these come with? You know, they've all got rear parking sensors. This one's got a camera, the Icon Plus had a camera, electric mirrors, remote central locking, all that jazz, and it all, as I said earlier, just works. Just works. What I would say is the downside that I don't like about this this car. Cost, probably. You are paying for Toyota reliability at this point, but as my mechanic has said to me many times before, and he owns himself as second-hand courtesy cars, if you want to go that little bit older and you want that peace of mind, the Toyotas are worth it. They just go on and on and on. Now, you will have seen on the channel at Automotive Tales, he used to have a C1. For those of you who didn't know, that Citroen C1 had a Toyota engine in it, and both individuals that I've known who've had them cars have both done well into the six-figure sums on that engine. Bulletproof, no major issues. So whilst it is a bit of a negative, the price, I would say it's a price worth paying. It's certainly a price worth paying going forward. So what else don't I like about it? Not a lot, really. Not a lot. It just works. It just works. Anyway, I'm going to carry on and do a few more miles. I'll probably come back to you with a bit of a summary statement as I get towards my destination, and I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Welcome back, YouTubers. So I'm now starting to get towards the end of my journey. I'm now 180 miles down the motorway. This is my initial verdict on the Yaris, and I'm now within 6 miles of my destination. So what else have I come across that I really like and what I really don't like about the car? Well, starting with the dislikes, one of the really silly things, and it's probably just more because I'm so used to it on modern cars, is there is no tap function, which is surprising for a car this age. Noting it, I first came across it on the Vauxhall course where I learned to drive it back in sort of 2000, 2001. This, you can't tap it and get sort of free flashes and pull out, and I'm finding myself going for it and not getting indication, and that is quite frustrating, really. I didn't realise how much it would annoy me, and when you're sort of trying to make progress on the motorway, it's one of those little features missing that sort of irritates. I suspect with time I'd just get used to it, but it's just sort of stood out to me a little bit. Other than that though, it's been good. The only other criticism I would have is if you had some weight in this car, even with this 1.3 engine, I think going up some of the long inclines, I've discovered that it's asking for fifth. It will get up it if you just persist and let it keep going and ignore the shift meter. It will do it in sixth, and it will maintain speed, it doesn't drop off. But you do think on the slopes, it's like, okay, maybe a little bit more torque in the engine would be useful, particularly if you had 2 or 3 people in here or a boot full of luggage. But what have I liked? Little bits and pieces. Well, the boot's a decent size. I managed to get all my kit in there. It's one of the better super minis I've seen. It's been comfortable. You know, I'm 6'3", and I've got plenty of space. I've got plenty of leg room. Steering wheel just for reach and brake, which has been fantastic. It means I've been comfortable. I'm 190 miles down. I don't ache at the moment. I don't feel uncomfortable. There's maybe a little bit of numb bum setting in, slightly, but compared to some other manufacturers, particularly for me, French manufacturers, I hate to say, no, this has been a comfortable car to drive. And as I mentioned in the first bit, it's been made comfortable because it's a quality product. Soft padding on the doors, and it hasn't rattled, it hasn't squeaked, it's not noisy, it's not fatiguing. It's just got on, and it's certainly a car that I think you could do 6 figures in this car and have it for many years, and it's just going to be a reliable servant for you going forward. Would I have one of these if I had to pick up a Super Mini as my money? Yeah, I certainly would. I think I've really come to appreciate what that Toyota badge has meant. You'll have seen I did one about Citroen C3 and I'm generally quite lenient in my reviews, you know. I have to accept people have got a budget, but this has really shown to me where that quality, that what just feels like reliability in the badge, you pay the extra money. And if you're willing to hunt for a reasonable spec like the Icon Plus, which was the first car that Alex had, it's got a good standard level of equipment without going to silly spec levels. And the nice thing with that Icon Plus, and I didn't mention it earlier, same with this TR, it's got some smart lit alloys. The looks aren't offensive, you know, you're not going to stand out from the crowd, but you know what, it's smart enough. You turn up, the alloys look smart, but they're also small alloys, so the tyres aren't stupidly thin, therefore they're not expensive. So with 56 to the gallon, cheap to service, cheap tyres, you know, this is a car you could run for many, many years, either as a first or a second car. And something that would actually be quite happy to do stints up and down the motorway or faster dual carriageways, but also be quite happy to zip round town and do everything else you need to do. So yeah, thumbs up to the Yaris. Anyway, if you've liked this, subscribe to @Automotive Tales and like the video. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my Twitter is Yorkshire CEng, and I hope to speak to you or see you soon. Take care, goodbye. Final afterthought, YouTubers. The volume button on the stereo is the nearest button. So the button you probably use the most and you turn off the radio is the one nearest. Now you probably will never noticed, but in most cars the volume button / power button is on the left and your sort of other dial is normally on the right. So silly little things, but you know what? It certainly shows that Toyota have put a little bit of thought into this. And I'd say almost simply clever, but I'd probably get done for copyright for somebody else. Anyway, just thought I'd mention that. Silly little things in these world. Take care. Speak to you later.
Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.